How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time here, my name's David Clark, and this is my old sled. Now, I recently did a couple of videos about the batteries in your snowmobile. We talked about some of the inherent flaws and problems with those batteries, and Mark Johnson asked the question, how far off are lithium batteries for snowmobiles? Well, Mark, not far. As a matter of fact, they're here right now, and they're pretty cool. So Mark, not long after you asked me that question, I started doing a little bit of reading up on lithium batteries, and I reached out to EarthX batteries, and they sent me a couple of their lithium batteries to try out, and I gotta say, it's some pretty cool technology. But are they right for every snowmobiler? And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Listen, if you like watching videos just like this one to keep up on technology and new products for your sled or ATV, take a second, subscribe to the channel, click that little bell icon, you'll get notified whenever I post a new video. So the traditional lead acid battery was invented about 1859, and to be honest, it hasn't changed a whole lot since then. Now, one of the things that I learned when I did my fuel injection versus carb video, there's a lot of old school guys out there and they think older is better, and they're just going to think a lithium battery is the devil's work, and you know, I'm not going to try and convince you otherwise. All I'm going to do in this video is talk about some of the pros and cons of the lithium batteries, and you guys do your own research and make up your own mind. So with all the talk about transitioning to newer and cleaner technology, there's been a lot of advancements in battery technology lately. And with these batteries, now some of that new technology is available to motorsports enthusiasts as well. If you've been watching the channel for a while, then you know that I don't flog or sell products. I present products because I think they might make interesting content. So let me tell you something right up front the salesman won't probably lead with. These batteries are expensive. How expensive? Well, the battery in my sled is $149. The OEM battery for the Rev is $149. Now, in comparison, the lithium battery I put in my ATV is $259 US. And this ETX 36D that I'm going to replace the battery in my Rev with is $369 US. So why are these batteries so expensive? Is it just greed? Is it because it's new? You know, a lot of times when we get a new technology, we pay more for it until it becomes more common. That's not really the case with these batteries. Mostly, they're more expensive because they cost a lot more to manufacture. So just for an example, a lead acid battery, I mean, it's got lead, sulfuric acid, water in it. Well, this battery, if I pull it open, it's full of new technology, and one thing it has is this microprocessor controlled battery management system. So that balances the cells, it balances how it's being charged, it protects it from discharge or overcharge. So it's really cool technology, but that management system alone costs more to manufacture than a whole lead acid battery. So the downside is you have a battery that's more expensive to manufacture and to retail, but the upside is you have a much more efficient battery that's going to last a lot longer. But is it really worth it? Is it enough bang for the buck? Is the juice worth the squeeze? You know what? If I'm honest, they're probably not for everybody. But you know what? For a lot of guys, especially people that are looking to shave a lot of weight off of their snowmobile, so a lot of mountain riders, backcountry riders trying to make their sleds lighter, this actually is a pretty practical way to do it. These batteries are really, really light. They're like 70 or 80% lighter than a lead acid battery. So this is a lead acid battery that I had in my Rev. It's not the OEM battery. It's actually a third-party one. The OEM battery, I called two dealerships yesterday. It was $149. I think that weighs about 15 pounds, but we're going to go and check. This one is like feather light. You cannot even compare the weight difference in these two. So this is the ETX 36D. This is the more expensive of the two batteries I have. This is the $369. All right, now let's look at that cost and weight difference in terms of actual value. Okay, so this is the ETX 20L. It's 310 cranking amps. It's $149, just like the OEM battery, and it's 13.67 pounds. Now, in comparison, this ETX 36D, it's only 3.9 pounds, but it is $369 US or $495 Canadian. Now, in other words, you're looking at a 9.77 pound weight savings, a difference in cost of $346 Canadian, so right around 35 bucks a pound. Now, if you compare that to things like aluminum running boards and aftermarket exhausts, to some guys that are really serious about shaving pounds off their sled, that difference in cost could be worth it. Now, there's one advantage to the lithium battery that takes some of the sting out of that price difference. According to EarthX, these batteries will last 4 times longer than a lead acid battery. That alone makes it worth it. Now, me personally, I'm seeing a much bigger value from the ETZ14C that I put in my Honda Rancher. So that battery is about $259 US. Now, I put a new battery in this machine when I got it, and I've never been happy with how it starts on a really cold day. I've been running that battery for a few days now, and it's a much, much stronger start. That machine starts so much better in cold weather. When that battery's worn out, I will definitely replace it with a lithium battery. Another advantage with these batteries is it's got a really, really low discharge rate. So it's something like 2% a month. So if you put this battery away and there's nothing drawing on it, in 6 months' time, you can get it out. You'll be able to start your sled. With a lead acid battery, it's much higher than that. You're going to have to charge the battery periodically through the storage season or leave a maintainer on it. Now, because this battery is not full of lead and water and sulfuric acid, we have a bunch of other advantages. It's not going to corrode. It's not going to sulfate like a lead acid battery can. And more importantly for a snowmobiler, it's not going to freeze. Now, in terms of cold starts, with a lead acid battery, the longer you try and start it and the more cold start attempts, the weaker that battery gets. This battery actually becomes more efficient as you use it more and it starts to warm up internally. All right, now the other thing that's cool, because this battery is not full of acid, you can basically mount it in any position, right? So the reason that's handy, if you've got an older sled like this one, it doesn't have electric start. Maybe I want to put a battery in this to power my GPS or charge my phone. Some of these old sleds, if they were never designed for a battery, you may be kind of limited where you can put it. So this battery might give you a lot more mounting options. Now, one thing that's a little bit different with these batteries is the terminals are in the center of the battery. Now, the advantage to that is you've got more mounting options, but it can be a little bit of a disadvantage in terms of fitment. Now, one thing that these batteries come with these little adapters that'll move the terminals out to the front of the battery, like the one you've got in your sled. The problem is if the battery box in your sled is like the one in my Rev, it's got like a metal hold down that runs across the middle of the battery. So if you're going to switch to a lithium battery, you're going to have to insulate that bar from touching the positive terminal on the battery. Now, there's a couple of ways you can insulate the battery from that metal hold down. The batteries themselves actually come with these little foam blocks. It's like a high density foam with a adhesive backing. The purpose of these is to take up space in your battery box. If the lithium battery is slightly different size than the one in your sled or ATV, actually it's a perfect fit for both of mine. But so you could actually stick that on the bottom of that metal hold down. I'm going to go with something a little more heavy duty. I'm going to get myself a little strip of plastic to go under there. I'm just a little worried that these will wear out over time. Now, there are some specific considerations around charging a lithium battery. Now, don't be intimidated. It's not like you need to have a really expensive lithium battery charger, but you do need to have one that isn't going to charge above 14.6 volts. You want one that'll shut off automatically when the battery's full. You want to have a charger that doesn't have a desulfate mode. I'll put a link to the EarthX website in the description for this video because they have a really good section just on charging lithium batteries. That's a bit of a problem for me because both of my chargers actually have desulfate mode, so I can't use them with these batteries. So I'm just going to hope that somebody sends me a lithium battery charger. I wonder what this could be. I'm such a kid. I love getting packages. So a big thank you to the guys at CTEC who sent me this charger to try out. So this is a CT5 Power Sport battery charger and maintainer. And as it happens, this charges lead acid and lithium batteries. So it's exactly what we need. All right, so here's a quick look at what comes in the box. So we've got a set of instructions, we've got a little storage pouch, the unit itself, and I'll just point out, this is really well made. I mean, the material is obviously nice and heavy duty. Even the connections are like a rubberized plastic. So we haven't got a display on the front, just a couple of lights, one mode button. So I'm assuming this thing is going to be pretty straightforward to use. We've got a set of the sort of traditional alligator clips, and then we have this little set of ring terminals. So you leave this attached to the battery to use it for maintenance mode. And then you've just got this little plug here with a rubber cap that you would leave on the sled. Okay, so whenever you charge a battery, regardless of the battery type and charger, you want to connect the battery charger to the battery first. Okay, so it is charging right now. It does have a quick check first, but it moved fairly quickly to the charge phase, and we've got lithium selected. So you can switch between charge programs with the mode button. So that is the CT5 Power Sport battery charger maintainer from CTEC. That's actually a really nice little charger. I'm going to use this for all of my charging now. So this is like $79, right? So it's not the most expensive charger I've ever bought by any means. And it's got a 5-year warranty, which is actually pretty solid for a piece of electronics. So that's the information on the product itself. In terms of the company, you know, they make batteries for everything from sleds and ATVs to aircraft. So if they're making batteries for aircraft, I'm fairly comfortable putting them in the Sled. If you hit their website, there is a ton of really good information on their products and on lithium batteries in general. Now, that 36D that I put in the Rev, it's a bigger battery, it's slightly heavier, and it's more expensive, but it's a higher capacity battery as well. So that's a good battery to go for if you're going to run a lot of accessories on your machine. If you're not, and you don't need that extra capacity, then that 14C that I put in the ATV, it's $100 cheaper and it's lighter. All right, guys, so what's the bottom line? What's my final opinion on these batteries and whether they're worth the extra money? You know, the first thing I'll say, I think you should have a good battery. It's not something you want to cheap out on with a snowmobile battery. It doesn't mean you need to buy a lithium battery, but if you think about it, they're exposed to really low temperatures. They are exposed to a lot of vibration. They're critical, right? You want to know if you're way back there in the bush that your sled is going to start and run when it's time to come home. So you want to have a good quality, sealed, maintenance-free battery in your sled anyway. So now that cost difference isn't that much, and you're not talking about thousands of dollars of difference. You're talking about hundreds. So, you know, I still think if you're on a tight budget, they're probably not for everybody. But if you're serious about saving some weight on your sled, and it's serious weight, right? Like you're talking 10 pounds or more, then it's a fairly cost-effective way to do that. And there's enough other advantages with this type of battery that I do think it's worth it. But again, maybe not for everyone. All right, that's the EarthX lithium battery, and that's it for another video. I hope you liked it. I hope it gave you a few things to think about if you've been looking into lithium batteries. If you liked the video, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up. Until next time, I'm David Clark. Thanks for taking the time to watch. And one of my viewers, Mark Johnson, asked, how far off are... And electronics are the work of the devil. Okay, so it is a battery... Okay, so it is a better battery. Better battery. Keep saying that 10 times fast when your face is frozen. The work of the devil. So it is a better battery.